Good morning, you listen to FortLA.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Dave Triepke, the president and owner of Universal Metro, a commercial contractor based in L.A. Dave, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Kemp. Actually, I'm out at the Roadshow that's being put on by Starnet and Mohawk in Los Angeles as we speak.
That's why I wanted to talk to you. I guess they're positioning this as their Southern California Education Roadshow, and this is one of 7 of these meetings. First, though, I want to mention we did a focus on leadership on you, Dave, in the June issue. We had fun working on that together. I appreciate you working with us on it.
Yeah, and I appreciate what you do at For Focus, putting that out. It's just a great avenue to share leadership highlights, their successes for people. I did get a lot of calls, texts, emails that people read that and they said, well done. So they loved how you structured that.
You know, you mentioned Dorch Oldham as one of your mentors, and his kids called me about it, so they were thrilled about that too. But anyway, let's move to today. Tell us, how's business going with Universal Metro now, kind of mid-year?
That's funny you mentioned Dorch. It leads right into business. That comment was about perseverance. That's exactly what we're doing right now. Our teams are busy. The activity is there, but there's a lot of what I would call budget work, almost a term called free-con, not pre-con, but free-con, where we get things ready to go. What's it going to cost to do the project? But the projects just are not being released. In fact, one of the Mohawk presentations was exactly on that data, and it was awesome that they actually validated exactly what we're feeling. We've seen a dip in new work since last October in LA.
You're just kind of bumping along and not many bright spots, but you've got a little bit of a backlog, right?
That's an ironic statement. Our backlog for 27 is greater than my backlog for 26. And it's simply because projects are on hold, being delayed. And there was like 6 months delayed out of design and construction for a while. Then there was another 4 months delayed out of the GC. And now we're seeing the projects just being put on hold, especially some of the stuff we're doing GMPs on, the larger projects. And then, of course, day-to-day work, the smaller office TI stuff is still very sporadic, almost fragile.
I know doing business in California is difficult. You mentioned in our leadership interview that in California you have a weather tax because it's expensive to do business there, but it's a great place to live if you can do it right.
It is. I'm not moving away. I know other people are. That's what they're called to do, and amen to that. And we do pay the weather tax, and of course, the people that do work and live here need to make a little more income to pay that tax. And so I talked to Barry Boonder, who's out here from Starnet. He's one of the VPs of biz development. I was sharing with him how one of my people, what the cost of that project manager is, and he was blown away. It is challenging, but very doable.
California likes their movie stars and they like their wine business. We stay out of politics. Let's move to this Mohawk meeting. This is the 3rd day. You know, I've done a couple interviews about these, and from what I understand, Mohawk pulls out all the stops and gives you a lot of market intelligence about what's going on in your market area. Tell us some of the highlights.
It is so good what they're doing. They bring in market segment leaders from multiple positions. So I think there was 7 voices yesterday. You know, we had Anthony Bain, of course, from leading all the dealer channel relations, kick it off, and he just did a wonderful job. It's no small feat what they're doing. John gave us some great data. John's the one that I mentioned earlier. He kind of validated exactly what we're seeing, that the market literally dipped with construction starts from October through current. And actually, that was one bright spot. Data shows that July through the balance of the year is going to be up, which is nice because it helps us make good financial decisions with staff. Then Ben came in. He gave us a great segment lead on workplace and retail, had some more analytics and more details. And Ben and John kind of worked together on how to present the marketplace to us from LA. And how to work with them on really truly partnering. What does it really mean to partner? Everyone says they're going to partner, but you got to have action items. You have to have quarterly business reviews. You got to do things that actually move the needle short term and long term. The architect and design gal, Jen Bush, was there, and she was talking about how best practices could be done, work with the A&D community and what they really want and need at this point versus what they might have needed 10 years ago. And then Richard, one of their technical people, kind of closed out the day, how to help us do great work in the field with their products. And so it was a very powerful day in terms of learning yesterday.
You were telling me prior to doing this interview that there are 8 other Starnet members at this meeting. It's being held at the Sheraton downtown L.A. near Mohawk's showroom, right?
That is correct. Right around the corner. It was a 2-minute walk. We kicked off on Wednesday night to doing some networking together at the Dodger game. And that was great. A lot of the Mohawk locals brought in architects and designers that we all got to intermingle with and really enjoy a game. And then started hot yesterday in the morning early with the training and teaching and education side of it. And then we ended up the day at the Mohawk showroom. And then we went up to their rooftop and enjoyed an evening, some cocktails. And then people did what they want to do in the evening. It was a wonderful day.
I know Mohawk's doing this with StarNet as a relationship builder. Do you think when it's all said and done, they've held all 7 of these, that they'll elevate their position and maybe even taken some market share from other vendor partners at StarNet?
I don't see how they wouldn't. When you invest that kind of energy and effort and you do the follow-up and you do the action items and you truly want a partner and you actually talk about how do we go tackle these customers together, we bring them new business and they bring us new business, it's going to happen. You got to create that buying atmosphere, and then you got to create the repeat habits, but then it will happen. And I think it's going to happen. I think they've had some great results since November of last year when they originally launched the concept. So it's great to see a large manufacturer actually put back into this business and help us all be more professional at what we're doing.
That's a good statement. So you say at the ball game that you met some new A&D people. That's also a plus too. I mean, they're making you part of their network, right?
Absolutely. And that takes guts to do. But I think there's a huge win-win when that happens. And then they have someone they can call and say, hey, Dave, what do I do when this condition happens? Or, hey, what's the truth about moisture? Or, hey, hearing that the budget's X, why is that? And we can actually break that down where they can go back to an owner and actually explain that to an owner with some true knowledge rather than just something on a piece of paper.
I failed to mention at the beginning of this thing that you're not only the president and owner of Universal Metro, but you're actually on the StarNet board as vice chair. It's good to have a board member at this meeting as well, right?
They asked me to do the original kickoff of the day with Anthony, and so we did that, and we actually did a little fun role playing. We role played, how do you have a great meeting? How does a vendor come in and meet with a StarNet partner vendor in terms of all levels, coordination, project management, ownership, leadership, and what do all those levels of leadership look like, and how do you help yourself as a vendor partner be successful, and vice versa? How do we help them be successful? Because, of course, it grows our business as well.
Did they talk about Hero Flooring?
They did. It's a wonderful product. They're going to have some great success with that.
What's your mid-year outlook, especially with having Mohawk there and them giving you insight as well? What's your mid-year outlook for the remainder of the year in your marketplace?
We'll keep persevering. We will have to make some adjustments in our staff. We're going to have to even more so call with our clients and find out what projects are really going to happen. In fact, I just did that this morning. And to much of my disappointment, one of the large $500,000 projects that we thought we were going to get is not only delayed, it's probably on hold indefinitely. You're seeing a lot of owners do that right now. I think that they're penciling out, they've invested a bunch of money in pre-con. They may even have already signed a lease, and they're saying, you know what, we're not going to do this project. We can't be profitable with the expense and the dollars and the investment. The return on investment's not there. I think we all need to buckle down and make smart decisions on what we're going to do. But then we can ride the storm. And it's a storm in certain markets. I've talked to several people across the country.
How's your business in Huntsville, Alabama doing?
Glad you asked. They had a slower first quarter, but then their second quarter and third quarter are off to great starts. In fact, I think they've got every possible crew working. And they've got a good mix. Government work there, of course, and education, and then, of course, a lot of healthcare. Really happy to see what that's done.
Hi, Dave. Well, I appreciate you spending time with us again. Good talking to Dave Triepke, the president and owner of Universal Metro in L.A., and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.